Your home is not just a place where you eat, sleep, and go about your daily routines. In the eyes of God, it is a sacred sanctuary, a spiritual refuge meant to be a space of peace, love, and divine protection. But what if I told you that without vigilance, even the holiest of homes can be invaded by negative influences? These influences may not always be obvious. They often enter through the most unsuspecting of ways: people, objects, and even the words we speak. That's why today, we will explore. Jesus warned his followers about wolves in sheep's clothing, Matthew 7:15, reminding us that appearances can be deceiving. The truth is, not everyone who enters your home has your best interest at heart. Some come with hidden motives, bringing with them a spiritual weight that disrupts the peace of your sanctuary. In today's world, envy is rampant, and it often manifests in subtle ways. A person who envies your happiness or success may project negative energy into your home, which can stir up conflict, unrest, or even misfortune. But here's the good news. God has given us the tools to protect our homes from these influences. Discernment is key. It is a spiritual gift that allows you to perceive beyond the surface, to see what is hidden in the heart. Proverbs 2:3-5 encourages us to seek wisdom and understanding from the Lord. When we pray for discernment, God gives us the clarity to know who should enter our sacred space and who should not. This doesn't mean we are called to shut our doors to everyone, but rather to be cautious. You wouldn't leave your front door unlocked for just anyone to walk in, right? The same principle applies spiritually. When you pray for wisdom before inviting someone into your home, God helps you protect the spiritual atmosphere of your household. An easy yet powerful practice is to pray over your home regularly. Walk through each room, asking God to sanctify and protect it. Ask Him for the discernment to know when someone's presence may bring harm rather than good. As you grow in this practice, you will start to notice a heightened awareness of the spiritual atmosphere around you. So what happens when you guard your home's spiritual atmosphere with intentionality? The effects are profound. A home that is spiritually protected fosters an environment of peace, love, and spiritual growth. You'll notice that arguments become less frequent, the overall mood is lighter, and God's presence is more tangible. When you exercise discernment and keep your home's spiritual gates strong, you invite prosperity, not necessarily in terms of material wealth, but in spiritual abundance. Your family begins to thrive in their relationship with God, and you'll find that the negative influences that once tried to creep in are no longer welcome. This naturally leads us to the next critical area of focus: what your family consumes. Because once you've established a protected home, the next step is to be mindful of what enters that space, whether through media, entertainment, or daily conversations. This is where the battle continues, and it's one that must be fought with just as much vigilance. If guarding your home's spiritual atmosphere begins with who you allow in, the next step is being intentional about what you allow in. Today's world bombards us with content, whether it's through TV, social media, music, or even the conversations we engage in. While it's easy to overlook these things as harmless, the Bible teaches us that what we consume can shape our minds, hearts, and even our spiritual well-being. Jesus himself said, "The eye is the lamp of the body. If your eyes are healthy, your whole body will be full of light. But if your eyes are unhealthy, your whole body will be full of darkness." Matthew 6:22-23. This profound statement reminds us that what we take in, what we watch, hear, and engage with, has a direct impact on the condition of our soul. So let's dive deeper into how what we consume affects not just us, but our entire household. Let's begin by understanding the fundamental principle: your home is sacred. The Bible teaches us that everything we own and all that we inhabit is to be dedicated to God. Just as the temple in ancient Israel was considered holy, your home, as a place where you and your loved ones worship and live, should be treated as a temple of sorts. It's no secret that media holds incredible power over us. From the movies we watch to the music that fills our homes, these forms of entertainment are not just passive activities. They have a profound ability to influence our thoughts, emotions, and even our spiritual health. Take a moment to think about how a certain song can lift your mood, or how a particularly intense movie scene can leave you feeling anxious or uneasy. These emotional responses are not random. They are directly tied to the content we consume. The Bible is clear on this. Above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. Proverbs 4:23. What enters through your eyes and ears eventually makes its way to your heart, shaping the way you think, feel, and behave. Imagine this. You fill your home with movies, music, and games that glorify violence, immorality, or fear. Over time, these influences become part of your household's culture, creating an environment where God's peace is diminished and spiritual turmoil thrives. But the opposite is also true. When you fill your home with uplifting, God-honoring content, you invite His presence to dwell among you. Here's the tricky part. Not everything harmful comes wrapped in an obviously sinful package. Some media may seem harmless on the surface, but upon closer inspection, we realize it subtly introduces values and ideas that go against God's teachings. Think about the television shows or movies that may not outwardly promote sin, but do so subtly through humor, characters, or situations that normalize behaviors like lying, adultery, or selfishness. This is why discernment is so crucial. As Christians, we must be able to identify what may seem innocent, but actually plants seeds of spiritual discord. King Saul is a powerful biblical example of how subtle influences can have drastic consequences. His fall didn't happen overnight. It began when he disobeyed God in small ways, 1 Samuel 15. Similarly, the media we allow into our homes may not seem destructive at first glance, but over time, it can erode our family's spiritual foundation, leading to a household where anxiety, anger, and confusion flourish. While it's vital to protect your own spiritual health, it's even more critical to consider the impact of media on your children. They are like sponges, absorbing everything around them. Whether it's good or bad, their minds are still being shaped, and what they watch, listen to, and engage with will influence their understanding of right and wrong, their values, and their relationship with God. Proverbs 22:6 instructs us to train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it. This training doesn't just happen through words or church attendance. It happens through everyday choices, like what kind of shows they watch or what games they play. If we allow our children to be constantly exposed to media that promotes violence, disrespect, or materialism, we are setting them up for spiritual confusion. But when we provide them with wholesome, God-honoring alternatives, we nurture their spiritual development in a way that aligns with the biblical values we hold dear. This isn't about sheltering them from the world. It's about equipping them with the discernment to navigate it without compromising their faith. So, how do we practically go about filtering the content that enters our homes? The first step is awareness. Take time to assess the media your family is currently consuming. Are the shows you watch filled with messages that contradict biblical values? Does the music playing in the background promote fear, anger, or lust? When you acknowledge your home as sacred, you begin to see every part of it differently. Your living room is no longer just a place for watching TV. It's a space where God can be glorified in conversations with your family. Your kitchen isn't just for meals. It's a place where you can practice gratitude and hospitality. Every room holds the potential for spiritual significance, but it requires awareness and intentionality to maintain that sacred atmosphere. Once you're aware, the next step is making intentional choices. Set guidelines for your family regarding what is acceptable to watch, listen to, or engage with. This doesn't have to feel restrictive. There is a wealth of positive, uplifting content available today that aligns with Christian values. The key is to be intentional about what you allow in. One powerful tool in this process is prayer. Before watching a movie, listening to a new song, or choosing a game for your children, ask God for discernment. Invite the Holy Spirit to guide you in your choices, and He will provide the wisdom you need. James 1:5 assures us that, if any of you lacks wisdom, you should ask God, who gives generously to all without finding fault, and it will be given to you. When you begin to filter out the negative influences and replace them with God-honoring media, you will notice a significant shift in your home's atmosphere. The peace of God, which surpasses all understanding, will begin to reign in your household. Philippians 4:7. Anxiety, unrest, and conflict will have no place because the environment is saturated with His presence. More importantly, your family will grow spiritually. You'll find that conversations around the dinner table Begin to reflect the values of the kingdom rather than the latest episode of a questionable TV show. The music playing in the background will lift your spirits rather than weigh them down. And as a result, your home will become a place where God's presence is not just felt, but celebrated. This newfound spiritual strength will naturally lead to another crucial area: your words. As the content you consume shapes your mind, it also shapes your speech, which brings us to the next important topic: the power of words. Just as media has the ability to influence your heart, so do the words spoken within your household. And it's there, in the words we choose, that the battle for peace and spiritual prosperity truly takes shape. If there is one thing the Bible makes abundantly clear, it's that words have power. The words we speak hold the ability to create or destroy, to build up or tear down, to bless or curse. Proverbs 18:21 tells us, "Death and life are in the power of the tongue, and those who love it will eat its fruits." What you say matters. In fact, the spiritual atmosphere of your home is directly influenced by the words spoken within its walls. But how often do we stop to consider the effect of our words on those around us? Our spouse, children, or even ourselves? Do we use our words to bring peace and healing, or do we allow anger, frustration, and negativity to take control? In this topic, we will explore how the words spoken in your home can either invite God's blessings or open the door to spiritual conflict. Let's start by acknowledging that words are not neutral. Every word you speak has a spiritual weight behind it. Whether you realize it or not, the words you say over your family, your home, and your own life are sowing seeds. Seeds that will either bear good fruit or bad fruit. Think about the times when you've said something in anger, frustration, or even in jest. You might have thought it was just a fleeting moment of emotion, but those words can take root in the hearts of those who hear them. That's why James 3:5 compares the tongue to a small spark that can set an entire forest on fire. If our words carry the power to ignite destruction, they also carry the power to speak life. Imagine the change that could occur if you intentionally chose words that brought healing, encouragement, and faith into your home. What would your relationships look like if, instead of reacting in anger, you responded with patience and kindness? But what threatens this sacred space? The answer lies in who and what you allow into your home. The Bible is filled with examples of how powerful words can be. In Genesis 1, God Himself created the world by speaking it into existence. Jesus healed the sick and cast out demons with a word, and you, as a follower of Christ, have been given the same authority to speak life into your home. Now let's consider the flip side of this truth. Just as life-giving words can create an atmosphere of peace, negative words can open the door to spiritual turmoil. When we allow words of anger, criticism, or negativity to fill our homes, we are essentially inviting discord and unrest to take root. Think about the last time there was an argument in your home. What was the atmosphere like afterward? Did it feel heavy, tense, or unsettling? That's because negative speech has a ripple effect. It doesn't just end with the words spoken in the heat of the moment. It lingers, creating an environment where peace is hard to find. The Israelites in the wilderness provide a sobering example of this. Their constant complaints and grumbling against God led to a generation wandering aimlessly, unable to enter the promised land. Numbers 14. Their words of negativity sowed seeds of discontent, which ultimately delayed their blessing. The same can happen in our homes if we are not careful with our words. But here's the hope. Just as negative words can bring destruction, positive, faith-filled words can bring restoration. The Bible gives us clear instructions on how to replace harmful speech with words that build up. One of the most powerful things you can do as a follower of Christ is to speak blessings over your home. When we choose to declare God's promises over our lives and the lives of our loved ones, we are aligning ourselves with His will and inviting His presence into our daily circumstances. Deuteronomy 28 outlines the blessings that come from obedience to God, and many of those blessings are tied to the words we speak in faith. When you speak blessings over your children, your marriage, or your home, you are partnering with God to bring about His good plans. On the other hand, speaking curses, even unintentionally, can have a detrimental impact. This doesn't mean you are casting literal curses, but think about how phrases like, "you'll never amount to anything," or "This always happens to us" can shape someone's mindset and self-worth. These kinds of words, even said in frustration, can become self-fulfilling prophecies. Instead, we are called to let no corrupting talk come out of your mouths, but only such as is good for building up as fits the occasion, that it may give grace to those who hear. Ephesians 4:29. By speaking words that edify, we create a foundation of grace and peace in our homes. Now you might be wondering, how do I actually put this into practice? It starts with small, intentional steps. One of the simplest yet most impactful things you can do is begin each day with a prayer of blessing over your home. Speak God's promises over your spouse, your children, and even your physical space. We often overlook the spiritual impact that people can have on our environment. Every individual carries a spiritual energy, whether they are aware of it or not. When you allow someone into your home, you are not only welcoming their physical presence, but also the spiritual influence they bring. For example, you could pray something like, "Lord, I declare that this home will be a place of peace, joy, and love. I ask for your protection over my family, and I speak blessing over each person who enters this house." By doing this, you are proactively setting the tone for your home's spiritual atmosphere. Another powerful practice is to regularly encourage your family members. Make it a point to affirm their strengths, celebrate their successes, and speak life into their future. When words of encouragement become a regular part of your household culture, it shifts the entire atmosphere. There's less room for negativity when positivity is the default. So, what happens when you begin to consistently speak words of life and encouragement? The spiritual protection around your home is strengthened. You'll notice that there's a sense of peace and unity that wasn't there before. Conflicts become easier to resolve, and the overall mood of the household becomes lighter. When you speak positively, you are reinforcing the spiritual walls of protection around your home. You are essentially saying to the enemy, "There is no place for you here." Just as Nehemiah rebuilt the walls of Jerusalem to protect the city from attack, Nehemiah 4, your words build a spiritual barrier that keeps out discord, fear, and confusion. This naturally leads us to another area that often goes unnoticed: gossip. While it may seem harmless, gossip can have a profound impact on the spiritual climate of your home. And that brings us to our next topic: how avoiding gossip is key to maintaining an atmosphere of peace and godliness. It may seem harmless, a casual conversation, a shared opinion about someone else, but gossip has a way of sneaking into our homes and wreaking spiritual havoc. Whether it's a whispered remark about a neighbor or an offhand comment about a friend, gossip carries spiritual weight far greater than we often realize. While it might seem insignificant at the moment, the Bible makes it clear that gossip is not just idle talk. It has the power to damage relationships, tear down trust, and invite negativity. Gossip at its core is a form of judgment. When we speak ill of others behind their backs, we are stepping into a role that belongs to God alone. Matthew 7:1-2 warns us, "Do not judge, or you too will be judged. For in the same way you judge others, you will be judged. And with the measure you use, it will be measured to you." So, let's unpack how gossip subtly infiltrates our lives, its spiritual consequences, and how we can create an atmosphere of integrity and respect in our homes. At first glance, gossip might seem like one of the smaller sins, less harmful than other behaviors we try to avoid. After all, it's just talking, right? Wrong. Gossip is far more damaging than we often give it credit for. It has the power to spread negativity and resentment, not only about the person being talked about, but also within the hearts of those engaged in it. In Proverbs 18:8, we are warned that the words of a gossip are like choice morsels. They go down to the inmost parts. Gossip feeds our pride and fuels our sense of superiority, but it also poisons our spirit. It plants seeds of division and mistrust, both in the person who gossips and in those who listen. Over time, these seeds grow into a harvest of strife and brokenness, affecting the relationships within your home. Imagine a small flame. It's easy to overlook at first, but left unchecked, it can grow into a wildfire that consumes everything in its path. Gossip works the same way. What starts as a simple conversation can quickly spiral into something much more destructive. And the worst part? It often goes unnoticed until it's too late. The Bible gives us numerous examples of this. Think of Lot in Sodom and Gomorrah. Lot allowed the culture of Sodom to infiltrate his household, and the consequences were devastating. The people around him were wicked, and that wickedness eventually seeped into his own family's life. Genesis 19. When gossip becomes a regular part of the conversations in your home, it opens the door for spiritual negativity to settle in. Think about the times when gossip has been present in your own household, whether between family members, friends, or even overheard from others. What was the atmosphere like afterward? Was there peace, or did it feel like tension and unease had taken root? The Bible is clear about the destructive nature of gossip. In James 3:6, the tongue is compared to a fire, capable of corrupting the entire body and setting the course of one's life on fire. Gossip is like a spiritual fire. It spreads quickly, burning through relationships and leaving ashes of distrust and bitterness behind. When we engage in gossip, we are essentially inviting conflict and division into our home. We're opening the door to an atmosphere where God's peace is absent, and the enemy has room to operate. Proverbs 16:28 says, "A perverse person stirs up conflict, and a gossip separates close friends." The same principle applies to families. Gossip separates, divides, and sows discord. But here's the good news. Just as gossip can bring negativity into your home, eliminating gossip can restore peace and unity. So how do we avoid the trap of gossip? It starts by setting a new standard for the way we speak about others, especially in our homes. The Apostle Paul gives us clear guidance in Ephesians 4:29. "Do not let any unwholesome talk come out of your mouths, but only what is helpful for building others up according to their needs, that it may benefit those who listen." Imagine what would happen if every conversation in your home was driven by this principle. Instead of tearing people down behind their backs, we could build them up, even in their absence. It's not about pretending everyone is perfect, but about choosing to speak with kindness and respect, even when others aren't around to hear it. One practical way to do this is by simply stopping gossip in its tracks. The next time you're tempted to engage in a conversation that you know could easily slide into gossip, choose to redirect it. You might say something like, "Let's pray for them instead," or, "I don't know the full story, so it's not fair for me to comment." It may feel uncomfortable at first, but over time, it will become a natural response, and it will set an example for others in your home to follow. When we choose to speak with integrity and avoid gossip, we're not just protecting ourselves, we're creating a culture of honor in our homes. Honor is a biblical principle that reflects the very heart of God. Romans 12:10 tells us to be devoted to one another in love. Honor one another above yourselves. In a home where gossip is replaced with respect and integrity, relationships are strengthened, trust is built, and peace becomes the natural atmosphere. This is the kind of home where God's presence can dwell, because it reflects His nature, love, truth, and unity. Creating an atmosphere of honor doesn't mean avoiding difficult conversations or pretending issues don't exist. It simply means handling those conversations in a way that reflects Christ's love and grace. It means speaking the truth, but doing so in love. Ephesians 4:15. And it means seeking to understand rather than to judge. You may have experienced this in your own life. Have you ever noticed that after certain people visit, the mood in your home feels different, perhaps heavier, more anxious, or even conflicted? These are spiritual effects that cannot be ignored. When you make honor the foundation of your home's culture, gossip has no place to thrive. Instead, conversations become opportunities to build one another up, to encourage, and to grow in faith together. So, what happens when you remove gossip from your home? The spiritual climate shifts dramatically. Where once there was tension and division, there is now peace and unity. Conversations that once felt heavy with negativity are now light and filled with grace. And most importantly, your home becomes a place where God's presence is welcomed and His peace reigns. By choosing to avoid gossip and set a standard of integrity, you are actively purifying the spiritual atmosphere of your home. Think of it this way. Just as you wouldn't allow physical garbage to accumulate in your home, you must also be vigilant about the spiritual garbage that gossip creates. When you clear it out, the air is cleaner, the atmosphere is lighter, and there is room for God's presence to flourish. This purification of your household's spiritual climate sets the stage for even greater blessings. Relationships become more genuine, trust deepens, and your family becomes more unified in their walk with Christ. When you guard your words and avoid gossip, you are not only protecting the hearts of those in your home, but also strengthening the spiritual foundation upon which your family is built. As we've journeyed through the spiritual atmosphere of your home, we've talked about the influence of people, the impact of media, the power of words, and the trap of gossip. Now we arrive at a topic that is often overlooked but just as significant: the physical objects that we bring into our homes. From gifts to decorations, everyday items to cherished heirlooms, the things that fill our homes can carry spiritual weight. The Bible tells us that some objects can have spiritual significance, either positive or negative. Just as God commanded the Israelites to rid their homes of pagan idols and anything associated with evil, Deuteronomy 7:25-26, we must be mindful of what we allow into our homes today. In this topic, we'll explore how to be cautious with objects and gifts, ensuring that your home remains a sanctuary of God's presence and protection. Throughout the Bible, we see that physical objects often hold spiritual significance. The Ark of the Covenant, for example, was a symbol of God's presence with Israel. On the flip side, objects like idols were considered detestable because they represented a rebellion against God. In modern times, we might not think of everyday objects as spiritually significant, but that doesn't mean they don't carry influence. Have you ever walked into a room and felt an unsettling presence, only to realize that there was something in that space that didn't sit right with you? Maybe it was a statue, a piece of artwork, or even a gift from someone that seemed to carry a heaviness. This is no coincidence. The spiritual world is real, and just as God's presence can fill a space with peace, other forces can attach themselves to objects, bringing negativity, confusion, or even oppression. In Joshua 7, we read the story of Achan, who brought forbidden items into the Israelite camp. These objects caused God's anger to burn against Israel, leading to their defeat in battle. The lesson is clear: what we bring into our homes matters. When we bring objects into our homes without spiritual discernment, we may unknowingly invite spiritual harm. This can happen in a variety of ways: through gifts, souvenirs, or even items purchased with no thought to their origin or meaning. This is why it's crucial to be discerning about who enters your home. Not every visitor comes with good intentions, and some may unknowingly carry envy, bitterness, or spiritual negativity that can settle into your environment. But how can you tell? Consider gifts, for example. While most gifts are given with good intentions, some may come with spiritual baggage. In many cultures, certain items are tied to superstitions, false religions, or even occult practices. You might receive something that, while seemingly beautiful or valuable, carries a spiritual significance that contradicts God's principles. This doesn't mean we should become fearful of every object, but we should exercise wisdom. The Apostle Paul reminds us in 1 Corinthians 10:23 that while all things are lawful, not all things are beneficial. Just because something is allowed doesn't mean it is spiritually helpful. The same applies to the objects in our homes. Another source of spiritual danger can come from items tied to past relationships or painful experiences. Holding on to such objects can keep you tethered to past hurts, sins, or traumas, preventing you from fully embracing God's healing and peace. By keeping these items, you may be inadvertently keeping the door open to old wounds or spiritual attacks. The good news is that we have authority through Jesus Christ to cleanse our homes of anything that may carry negative spiritual significance. It begins with prayer. Just as we pray for protection over our families and homes, we should also pray over the objects that enter our space. This is a simple but powerful practice that invites God's presence to sanctify everything within your home. Before bringing any new item into your home, whether it's a gift, a purchase, or even something inherited, take time to pray over it. Ask God to reveal whether this object will bring peace and blessing, or whether it could be a source of spiritual disturbance. Pray something like, "Lord, I dedicate this item to you. If there is anything attached to it that is not of you, I ask that you remove it in Jesus' name." For objects already in your home, consider taking a spiritual inventory. Walk through each room, asking the Holy Spirit to guide you. If there is anything that feels off or unsettling, Pray over it, and if necessary, remove it. Just as Joshua's camp had to remove Achan's forbidden items to restore God's favor, Joshua 7:24-26, you may need to remove certain items to restore peace in your home. Once you have removed any objects that may carry negative spiritual significance, it's time to fill your home with reminders of God's presence. This doesn't mean your home needs to look like a church, but consider adding elements that reflect your faith and invite God's peace. This could be as simple as displaying a cross, or hanging scripture verses that remind you of God's promises. It could be playing worship music in the background, or creating a prayer corner where your family can gather to seek God together. The goal is to create an atmosphere that not only reflects your values but actively invites the presence of God into your home. Psalm 91:1 tells us that, "Whoever dwells in the shelter of the Most High will rest in the shadow of the Almighty." When your home is filled with God's presence, it becomes a refuge, not just for you, but for everyone who enters. It becomes a place where peace, joy, and spiritual protection flourish. So, what happens when your home is free from negative influences and filled with reminders of God's presence? The atmosphere changes. Where there was once confusion, there is now clarity. Where there was heaviness, there is now peace. Your home becomes a sanctuary, a place where God's blessings can flow freely. The spiritual battle for your home isn't always obvious. Sometimes the greatest threats are hidden beneath the surface. A friendly smile can conceal envy, and a warm handshake may hide jealousy or resentment. This isn't to say that we should live in paranoia, but Scripture calls us to be discerning. A spiritually clean home is not just about removing the bad, it's about making room for the good. When you cleanse your home of anything that might hinder God's presence, you are creating space for His peace, protection, and provision to abound. You will find that conflicts become easier to resolve. Prayers are more powerful, and your family feels more connected to one another and to God. Just as the Israelites experienced God's favor when they obeyed His command to rid their camp of forbidden objects, you too will experience greater blessings when your home is fully consecrated to Him. This spiritual cleanliness not only protects your household, but also sets the stage for even greater spiritual growth and unity.